Welcome to the Explainer. If you're a focused learner trying to figure out how to take dry, ridiculously technical software training and turn it into a vibrant, human-centric learning ecosystem, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're unpacking a brilliant framework that literally flips the script, taking the focus completely off the software system itself and putting it right back onto the people actually using it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Why do most ERP trainings completely fail? I mean, it's a massive pain point for global organizations trying to roll out these complex enterprise systems, right? Well, the simple, honest answer is they fail because they obsess over the system. They focus on the menus, the drop-downs, the endless theoretical capabilities, instead of focusing on the actual human being sitting in front of the screen just trying to get their job done.
So our core thesis today is pretty simple. Designing training is not about documenting every single screen and button. It's really about enablement. It's about equipping our colleagues, whether they're research scientists, field technicians, or administrative staff working out in the global south, to perform their day-to-day work accurately, efficiently, and for sure with absolute confidence. To get us there, we'll walk through a quick journey. The ERP training dilemma, knowing your learner context, building strong mental models, authentic practice and memory, habits and social learning, and finally, evaluating real behavior change. Let's get to it. Part 1, the ERP training dilemma, moving away from the content dump. We've all been there, haven't we? Sitting through some overwhelming, totally disconnected e-learning module that just doesn't apply to what we actually do. Instead, picture this. It's a Friday afternoon. You've got a spotty internet connection, a looming deadline, and honestly, you just need to log your hours. If you're a field technician trying to log time against 3 different projects before the weekend hits, this immediate, highly relevant micro scenario is going to grab your attention instantly. It's so much more effective than starting off with a monotone, "Welcome to the project system module." You've got to mirror the exact pain points they already feel to capture their focus.
Part 2, know your learner context. Designing for the environment.
Now, what's really interesting here is that context mapping is the absolute foundation of this entire framework. Before you even think about drafting a single simulation, you've got to look at how vastly different these work environments can be within the exact same software system. Look at this. We have a maize breeder in Harare whose physical environment is a field with barely any internet. Their true goal isn't learning the software, it's getting a crucial seed shipment moving. Contrast that with a finance officer in Texcoco working from a desktop with blazing fast internet whose goal is strict budget compliance, or a local partner in Nepal who might be using a shared device. You simply cannot design one generic, one-size-fits-all training for all 3 of those realities.
And this environmental mapping directly dictates how we set our training goals. Check out the difference here. A weak goal is just wanting the learner to know how to create a requisition. That's abstract. It's totally unobservable. A strong goal, on the other hand, create and submit a requisition within 5 minutes under real-world conditions. Boom. We need to explicitly move from abstract content lists to observable, measurable actions. It strips away all the fluff so we only teach what actually matters.
Part 3, building strong mental models. Design for knowledge.
You see, complex workflows almost always fall apart when learners just see a bunch of disconnected, robotic steps on their screen. Before we ever tell someone to click this, then click that, we have to build a mental model of how the data actually flows through the organization. Take this agricultural analogy. It's brilliant. A requisition is like planting a seed. The requisition number tracks it all the way to harvest. By using an analogy that fits the organization, the training instantly clicks. A purchase requisition travels through fields of supervisory and procurement approvals before the final harvest of the goods being delivered. The requisition number is literally just the tag on that seed. Once they grasp that mental model, the physical clicks in the software finally make sense.
Part 4, authentic practice and memory. Design for skills. This is where we really shift into the design phase. It is absolutely crucial that learners actually do the work in a safe sandbox environment, rather than just passively watching video demos. We do this through a really cool 3-layer framework for authentic practice. First, show me, which might be a quick, silent animated GIF showing the ideal click path. Second, let me try, a guided simulation where they click through with gentle corrective feedback. And finally, challenge me. This is an unscaffolded scenario, like a vendor invoice arriving with a price dispute. The learner works in the sandbox with 0 prompts, completely mirroring a true moment of need on the actual job.
Now, while they're in that challenge me phase, the feedback they get is critical. We have to design feedback that is instructive, not judgmental. If a learner messes up, don't just flash a giant red wrong on the screen. Tell them, hey, you selected the correct vendor, but the invoice date needs to be in the current fiscal year. Go check the document header. That is constructive, human-centric enablement.
But how do we actually make it stick? Because let's be real, nobody is going to remember a 15-step process from some one-off workshop they took 3 months ago. To defeat the forgetting curve, we embed retrieval cues. For instance, a red flag icon that consistently means urgent action needed across both the training module and the real live system. We use spaced micro-practices, like quick 3-minute drills sent out weeks later. And most importantly, performance support. A mobile-optimized one-page PDF job aid with massive step numbers is infinitely more powerful than a 50-page slide deck when someone is stuck out in the field.
Part 5. Habits and Social Learning. Design for Motivation.
Welcome to the ecosystem phase. We've got to remember that rolling out a new ERP system heavily disrupts people's familiar routines, and naturally, people resist that change. To handle the emotional dimension here, we need to actually acknowledge the loss of their old, super-fast spreadsheets so we can celebrate the relief of the new, accurate systems. Validating the user's frustration builds incredible trust. Saying, look, we know this new process takes 2 extra minutes, but it completely eliminates your month-end reconciliation nightmare, helps them push through. You can then map the new ERP behavior onto existing habit cues, like making the ERP dashboard literally the very first tab they open with their morning coffee. And then we weave all this into a broader social ecosystem. We want to move learning right into the flow of daily work. That means using discussion prompts to share system shortcuts or building local terminology wikis so people know that a generic T&E report is actually called viaticos in their specific region. It means hosting virtual coffee chats or leaning on peer champions. Because honestly, if you tell a learner to ask Maria in finance to show you her quick search trick, you instantly make the learning social, totally accessible, and vastly less intimidating. Part 6. Evaluating real behavior change, moving beyond the final quiz. So, the crucial point is, how do we know if any of this actually worked? Because let's be entirely honest here, passing a multiple-choice quiz does not mean you know how to use the software in the real world when the pressure is on. Instead, we use an escalation of evaluation metrics. We start at level 2 with learning, actual performance-based tests right inside the sandbox. Then we step up to level 3, behavior. This is where we partner with team leads for day-in-the-life spot checks, maybe 2 weeks post-training, just to see if users are actually navigating menus correctly on the job. Finally, level 4, results. These are leading indicators, like a measurable drop in help desk tickets or way faster month-end close times. That perfectly ties our training efforts to actual, measurable ERP adoption milestones. To make sure we're always staying on track, we use these 5 core questions for absolutely every resource we create. Whether we're building a massive e-learning course or just a quick infographic, we ask, is it focused on a performance gap? Does it speak to the learner's real context? Does it require application rather than just passively watching? Does it include lasting memory aids? And finally, is it highly accessible for their specific bandwidth, their device, and their language? I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Are you just documenting software, or are you designing for actual learner success? Remember, when we take a truly human-centric approach, we take a dry, complicated system rollout and turn it into a genuine capacity-building journey. It empowers every single colleague to contribute effectively and, most importantly, confidently. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep designing for the human.